really put the focus on Bryan Callen. You know, they do this show, The Fighter and the Kid. I can't believe they still do this show, but apparently it was their 1000th episode. They had a big party.
I'm like, what's the roadblock? He's like,
I've never seen, I don't know what happened before the show aired. I don't know how they got into this mood, but they both did the show. I'm sure you've seen clips of it. They're sitting there basically in tears, bringing up like all the worst stuff they've ever done. You know, they're having emotional temper tantrums where they're crying and like, I really can't believe it. We'll show you a little bit of it. But yeah, The Fighter and the Kid, it's so funny because a lot of these guys, you're going to see with Giannis today when our investigation undercovers, really the views are starting to go down. Like people don't have time for all these podcasts anymore unless they're good. And these comedians really, they did burn themselves out. Who would have thought you can't be hilarious every single day for 4 hours a day for all of your life? I mean, really. We're in a beautiful time right now where Chris D'Elia, who was, you know, getting 500,000 views at a time. Chris D'Elia, I mean, how many subscribers? He still has, what, 600,000 subscribers? He's getting like 40K views now. Fighter and the Kid, 30K views. All these shows. Giannis, Pappas, 7K views. So it's starting to hurt, and these guys are, you know, it's starting to rub off. Wait till you see how they celebrated.
Yeah, Chris has 600K, and his latest podcast has 34K views from 4 days ago.
So how hurtful would that be? You know, imagine you have 600K. Where did my...
You can't have less views than a Redbar clip.
No.
That's the threshold.
I mean, that would just hurt so much. Every time I see these guys, I go, I think to myself, I go, you got 600,000 subscribers. You're getting 30K views. Look at how many people just said, no, thank you. And they're seeing your videos pass by them every day. And they're saying, nah, not anymore. I mean, that would kill me. That would just kill me. All right, let's show you this 1000th episode. Who's on this one? We've got Andrew Schulz, special guest. Chris D'Elia. Ooh. You know, I was surprised Andrew Schulz did this. Why would you want to be in the company of Brendan Shaw, Bryan Callen, and Chris D'Elia?
Yes, we did, 'cause we back at it again. It's The Fighter and the Kid.
this is really The Fighter and the Kid.
Come on, baby. First thing first, we got a huge show.
1,000, buddy.
1,000.
Do we look at our boy Brian?
Shout out to Brian Johnson. He's the best.
Wow,
Brian Johnson came here and made that for us, man.
Wow, 1,000 Fighter and the Kid. That's my tattoo, guys. I just found out the tattoo I'm getting on my very flat chest.
You know, what's so interesting about this, too? It's all just horse shit. I mean, it's all just like fake baby talk horse shit where they just say random crap that they think sounds funny and with very little effort. You could tell these guys are tired, exhausted, burned out. They literally have nothing left to podcast about. I mean, everything they've ever wanted to say has been said and said 5 times over. And we got a lot of podcasters just sitting in these chairs looking depressed and completely exhausted. All right, what's our first code? There's a lot here. I don't want to do all this.
I know.
So just give me some of the...
you can go to 1550 first.
1515?
1550.
1550. Okay. Oh, Andrew Schulz, despicable Andrew Schulz calling into the show. Was this the beginning of his...
No.
Calling? No.
851 is, if you want
Let's
that.
just see.
0851.
0851. I thought this to be rather despicable. What is Andrew Schulz doing calling into this washed-up show now? Andrew Schulz is Madison Square Garden.
Maybe they know something about him. Maybe he was with them on one of the nights.
You know, Bryan Callen, he's going to talk about it here. Remember, Bryan Callen, he got that big rape accusation that I think people believed. You know, most of his peers and stuff believed it. That's kind of why they left him.
They found it to be plausible.
Wait to hear these little updates from Callen. That's why we're here. You know, people covered this, and of course, what did they do? It's all Brendan. The Callen stuff from this episode was 100 times worse than any of the stuff out of Brendan. Let's just see how Schulz pops in.
What's up?
Andrew Schulz.
Oh, wait, to the
forgets
1000th episode, guys. Cheers. Congratulations. Wait till you see how happy they are to be where they're at. Cheers.
It's a
never,
rare quality.
ever once. Oh, wow, this is cool. It asks you if it's okay that somebody's recording. That's nice.
You see
It's
that?
good to know.
There you
Is
go.
this okay? The background, boys? Are we cool with that? I'm just like holding my phone.
No,
Hopefully
it's
that's not
a
distracting.
It's a beige background. You can see that expensive painting behind you, or maybe it's a photograph.
Is this
Either way,
is this your house, Schulte?
This is my bedroom.
it's not a house. It's a mansion. It's a manor.
It's a manor. The man dragon, right? Yeah, you'll see a very cocked Brian Callen. By the way, Brian Callen, I don't know if you can see here, he claims he works out all the time. Got the same figure as me. He works out all the time, he says. Wait till you see the insecurities of the man dragon. Coming up. All right, let's jump to that 1550, I'm sorry. All right, let's see what happens here.
On beef, I got nothing respect for him. I love that
Hey,
guy.
Andrew, I want to ask you a question. As a guy who's always ahead of the trend in a way, slap fighting reminds me of the fact that like people's attention span is so short. Like nobody's even watching a whole special. It's like, why even do an hour when you know at the end of the day they're going to watch 20 minutes of it, maybe less.
Wait. I've never really heard this. People's attention spans are short. I heard that. We've heard that one before. But have you heard this one about the comedy specials? Listen to this.
It's so short. Like nobody's even watching a whole special. It's like, why even do an hour when you know at the end of the day they're going to watch 20 minutes of it, maybe.
Andrew Schulz is sitting here like, they be watching all my specials. Brian Callen's sitting here. They only watch 20 minutes of a special? Who are you talking about? Redbar? That's not good. Is that what what the hell happened here? Is that what your analytics told you on because didn't he upload to YouTube for a special?
I think so.
So here's Brian Callen complaining that people only watch 20 minutes of a special. I don't think that's the case with every comedian. Yikes. So what you're seeing here and what you're going to see, a theme of today's shows are guys who are just, they're at their wits' end with this stuff. The views are drying up. The money is drying up. Remember, these guys, they got big. They got numbers, they got money, they bought houses, they bought cars, they bought their wife's cars, they've got investments, they got all this stuff cooking, and now they're going flat broke. And you can see it today with Brian Callen. Listen to this as he worries about people's attention spans with specials, something Andrew Schulz, I don't think, can relate to.
To the trend in a way. Slap fighting reminds me of the fact that like people's attention span is so short. Like nobody's even watching a whole special. It's like, why even do an hour when you know at the end of the day they're going to watch 20 minutes of it, maybe less. Even when you post a joke. So like, what do you think? Is that going to come back? What do you think?
I think the Tom Brady shit broke that.
Yeah.
Because the Tom Brady shit was 3 hours long.
Another thing that you were so deeply far from being involved with. The Tom Brady roast. I really hope Netflix has a disaster on their hands with whatever type of roast they try to do next.
And what do you mean, So everything you just said is wrong?
Yeah, exactly. I thought people's attention spans were so short, they're not watching this crap anymore. Look how quickly he folds.
What do you think? Is that going to come back? What do you think?
I think the Tom Brady shit broke that.
Yeah.
Because the Tom Brady shit was...
Oh, so your point is kind of just invalid, huh? Oh, yeah. Okay. So he's basically saying, no, I don't agree, Brian. Bad point. Look at this guy. Every time you pause at him, look at him.
I think the Tom Brady shit broke that.
Yeah.
Because the Tom Brady shit was 3 hours long or whatever the fuck. Like I remember sitting up there, I had to take 2 pee breaks. Like I'm looking at the guy who owns the Patriots, Kraft or whatever. I'm like, there's no way you don't have to pee. Like I had to leave during
laugh through that pain. Okay, what's our next one here?
1645.
1645. Nice. And I'm glad this came back to work. And I don't know how that happened. Maybe he ran and updated it, huh? Cancel. Oh, this is good. This is not good news for Brian. Watch this. They're talking cancel culture, one of our favorite topics over here. Cancel culture has been keeping all these comedians, out of a job. Josh Denny, the reason he's not big and flourishing, cancel culture. Brian Callen, the reason he can't make a dime anymore, cancel culture. Even Giannis Papas, cancel culture. You see what Redbar did to him. He can't make a dime. Let's see.
the amount of people
that was also a watershed moment because it was a bunch of guys who now and gals who were being as off color and politically incorrect and using words that would get you canceled normally, and people loved it. It was like, enough of this bullshit.
I think like oftentimes like there's an impactful event, right? And that impactful event is evidence that the tide has changed.
Yep.
But the tide changes before. Like the cancel culture shit and like saying whatever you want to say was done maybe like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. I don't know, like a year ago. It's maybe 2 years ago it started to change. Maybe like a year ago, it's really like, okay, we're pretty good. But that was the moment I think that like everybody realized, oh, okay, you could say whatever you want now. No, human beings are going to do what we do with everything, which is fucking ruin it.
Yeah.
Like the second the cancel culture shit is over, now you got all these people like white people on the internet are like, well, why can't I say the N-word? Yeah. And it's like now all of a sudden they're going to fuck it up for everybody. Yep. And they're going to go crazy on the say whatever you want shit. And then all of a sudden the pendulum is going to swing back. And that is just what happens over and over again throughout history. But right now we're in this nice little pocket where you can say whatever you want. So enjoy.
Yeah. Oh, right now we're in this nice little pocket where there really isn't cancel culture for comedians. You could say whatever you want. Uh-oh, Brian. You better go tell Steven Crowder the news. You could say whatever you want now. So,
but you can't rape whoever you want. So that's why he's still held up.
Wow, look at that. So Andrew Schulz is declaring kind of cancel culture's over for the moment. You could say whatever you want. Jokes are allowed now. We saw Netflix. We're seeing all this stuff. People are loving it.
Can I say one thing before we move on?
Sure.
I didn't notice this before, but Andrew says, so I think about 2 years ago, cancel culture was over. Or maybe like 1 year ago, it was really over. And 2 years ago, maybe it was going to start being over.
Yeah.
That's because his special Infamous, which was marketed as being taken off Netflix
for the streamer.
Because of cancel culture, came out on July 17th, 2022, less than 2 years ago. So he had to make sure to change it to one.
Change it. Wow, that's why he was doing all that stuff that made it unclear. Okay, but here you go, Brian. I hope we don't see Brian on Steven Crowder next week talking about how cancel culture is the reason he can't make a living anymore. Because here's Andrew Schulz saying, no. It's been paused, at the very least. It's on pause right now. You could kind of make a great living saying some pretty edgy shit. Edgier shit than Brian Callen's even saying in his act. So I don't know if cancel culture's holding you back, Brian, but rape is still not allowed. Alleged rape, of course. Rape is still not allowed.
Damn.
Pendulum is going to swing back, and that is just what happens over and over again throughout history. But right now we're in this nice little pocket where you can say whatever you want. So enjoy.
Yeah. We'll see how long it lasts.
So you can say whatever you want. So
he doesn't look too happy with the idea that you could say whatever you want. Well, he's doing a campaign right now saying that that's the problem and you can't. I mean, look at that. Wouldn't you be happy about it? You should be like, oh, yeah, we can say whatever we want. You know what? I don't really. Oh, yeah, that doesn't.
You can say whatever you want. So just Brennan, just say, I'm sorry, Dana White. That's all you got to say. Get me out of the 200s.
100 rows.
I apologize about what I said about the UFC account and the slap account and who's getting the views or whatever. Everything is okay because we want you there. I want you there. I want to watch the fight with you.
Oh, they're talking about Brennan. Yeah, he wants. They're talking about how Brendan Schaub is no longer invited to the UFC to hang out in the cool kids corner there with Tony Hinchcliffe and Tom Segura anymore. They don't see him there anymore. All right, what's our next little code?
Chrissy D calls in, but it's so boring. I just want to talk about how boring it was. Callan calls Michael Rappaport Matt.
Chrissy D did a real bomberoo here. Okay, what was it? Michael Rappaport called in. That was bad.
And Callan called him Matt by accident.
Callan called Michael Rappaport Matt.
Do you want the Crystalia 14525, that one? 014525.
Okay, yeah, this was a little creepy. Yeah, 014525. Listen to this. Crystalia. Is that right? No. 014525. Chris D'Elia, there he is. Yikes. Nice company you guys keep. Chris D'Elia on the 1,000th episode.
Nothing. Sans clothing.
Watch this.
Yeah, I mean the chair has a stud shooting up from it, but yeah.
Oh God.
Oh, like a.
Oh man, dude, why?
Bidet, like a
It's a
bidet.
Sibian.
No, he's
It's
sitting
a
on a. No, he's
Sibian.
sitting on a. Are you sitting on a Sibian? Why would
It's
you?
a Sibian.
God damn it, Chris.
And you got Tupac in the background.
Yeah. Do you know Chris sent me a picture and he said,
Oh no, dude, it's a Sibian.
Oh, he's trying to distract. So Brian goes, you know, Chris sent me a picture, and then Chris tries to distract. I wonder what this picture could have been.
Oh no, dude, it's a Sibian. Oh.
Dude, did you just piss from all the pressure it was putting on your prostate?
I
Or was that something
did I
else?
just release?
Say what we're here
Oh
for.
no, dude, I'm sorry, guys. I released.
Ah, God, don't release.
Dude, I'm sorry. I released.
Chris,
You're too
Chris,
close, man.
Chris sent me a
This is-
picture and it said, "You like my new watch?" And it was his dick wrapped around his wrist.
One of
That
my
was
favorites.
so inappropriate.
Chris sent me a picture of his dick wrapped around his wrist, and he says, do you like my new watch? What is a sex addict doing? Sending dick pics still. Okay, now you got to see, he doesn't want this being brought up. He actually gets quite nervous when he brings this up because this isn't what he should be doing as a guy who's in sex rehab for all the crimes he's committed. Watch this.
I released.
Chris,
You're too close, man.
Chris sent me a picture and it said, "You like my new watch?" And it was his dick wrapped around his wrist.
One of
That
my
was
favorites.
so
One of
inappropriate.
my
That's how you know what
favorites.
time it is. And that's how you know what time it is.
Yeah, well, not really.
Right?
Yep.
Not
Yeah,
really,
well.
dude. So your
Yeah.
dog
Okay,
collar.
so I have this theory. Chris is still doing this too because he gets off on a guy also seeing his dick. Yeah, a lot of people were alleging that he's, exposes himself, sends dick pics. Brian, of course, was, when his rape thing was brought up, wasn't there a story how he exposed himself to Whitney? Remember,
Yes, that everyone was bringing
if
up.
these guys are so sorry and they're so reformed, I don't think you should be doing anything with your dick anymore. I know if I was accused of this stuff, especially if it wasn't true like they claim, I would be so turned off by dick stuff. And just to be safe, I'd be like, the dick pic days are fucking over.
I mean, especially if you're as innocent as you say you were, you would be like, I'm not letting
Yeah.
anything like this ever happen to me again. The only way you would do that is if you were addicted to sex.
And you know what Chris wants? This is what Chris wants. Chris wants to send this picture of his dick to Brian Callen.
To anyone.
To anybody, because he wants them to talk about, oh, dude, have you seen Chris's hog? He's got a nice hog on him, a nice piece. It's another way of Chris being able to advertise his penis to people out there on the internet, which he ultimately wants. He gets off on them being intrigued or him thinking that they're intrigued. He gets off sexually on the idea of people seeing his cock. I can't believe he's still doing that. Thank you, Brian, for letting us know. All right, what's our next code?
You can go to. He does more dick stuff,
Yeah,
but you get it.
that's okay.
Okay, 202-1500.
All right.
This is where it gets good.
500. Oh, okay. So Brian's going to discuss his canceling. They're bringing it all up again on the 1,000th episode, which I think is a very bad idea. If you're accused of all this stuff, rape and all these terrible things, I would just stop talking about it altogether and then focus on just like being really funny and hoping that, there's enough people out there that still think you're really funny and, you could continue some sort of a career. What I wouldn't suggest is on the 1,000th episode, bringing up the very worst of your criminal history again to rediscuss it and remind everybody watching, oh, yeah, that's why these guys are where they're at. Okay, listen to this. Brian's going to say some nasty stuff.
Yeah, it's nice.
All right. So we got a lot of questions.
This is interesting. He's being asked, these are the interns. This is this Chin. Is that his name, Chin?
Yep.
Am I talking about the right guy? This Chin. What a despicable Chin. And then he's got this other guy. I don't know if she's from Iran or something, this other intern. But they're all very close, and they all believe Brendan and Brian's schemes and lies. I mean, they just believe everything out of their mouth. It doesn't matter how many
This
stories.
girl starts tearing up
Yeah.
at what they're saying at one point. I'm not kidding.
So they're really on their side, which I just don't know how that's possible.
Tearing up at something your boss is saying, no matter how much you like him, is crazy. And I've never seen that done outside of a movie where they're trying to show the characters the biggest kiss ass.
So they got a real hold on these interns. They've got these interns believe in everything. Okay. They're doing a Q&A, though. She's taking questions from the audience. Is that what's happening here? Okay.
Big mistake.
All right, what do you got, Sinas?
All right. So we got a lot of questions. We'll start with a couple easy ones. What do you think the most important thing you learned while the man dragon was dealing with BS canceling? And that comes to us from Alan Tucker 07.
Let's start with an easy question. What was the most BS you had to deal with? How did you go through your BS cancel? I mean, really, that's an easy question. Listen to this again.
I think the most important thing you learned while the man dragon was dealing with BS canceling, and that comes to us from Alan Tucker 07 on Instagram.
You take it because you went through it, and then I went through it. Like we both went through some shit there.
There we go.
Different because you actually went through the actual bullshit, and then you got to realize I basically going through it with my brother because we're in this marriage, so it was like a double-sided thing. You go first, though.
Well, I mean,
your thing.
Part of it's losing everything, Like, part of it's just going through, like, you spend your whole life building something, and then just out of the blue, somebody says something about you, tells a story about you. Out of the blue. Doesn't matter if it's from 1999, doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter if it's true.
By the
Your
way,
whole life
I
most
reread
important.
the article this week, and it didn't come out of the blue. It came out because she saw Chris getting taken down and thought she was brave, and so it's actually Chris's fault.
Yes. So remember when Chris D'Elia went down, here's another important part to remember. When Chris D'Elia went down for all of his indiscretions, Brian Callen came on this show and said, I barely know Chris. We're not even really that close friends. I see him once in a while at comedy clubs, but we barely know each other. Cut to today, he's thanking him for always being his closest friend. So yeah, when Chris went down, it started inspiring other women to come out with their tales. Now, of course, again, this interview made us go reread the article. I got to say, it doesn't seem like she's lying. And there's really nothing in it for her. He's not rich. It's not like she could get a lot of money. You're not going to get a lot of fame. If anything, you're just going to get more hate.
Negative attention.
So here he is. Let's hear him retell how horrible it was being unfairly canceled for, being accused of rape.
Doesn't matter if it's from 1999. Doesn't matter what it is.
Doesn't matter if it's true.
Your whole life
That's most important.
Away.
Doesn't matter if it's true.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Fuck how old it is.
Yeah.
Number one.
By the way,
doesn't matter if it was yesterday. Doesn't matter if it was 2012.
Wait, so your excuse was that it was old? Did he just say that? It was a long time ago. So
doesn't matter if it's true.
Your whole life.
That's most important.
Away.
Doesn't matter if it's true.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Fuck how old it is.
Yeah.
Number one.
By the way,
doesn't matter if it was yesterday. Doesn't matter if it was 2012. Doesn't matter if it was 1992.
Yes.
It wasn't fucking true.
Exactly.
Oh.
So that's the one thing.
And how do you know? That's what I don't understand. How can you go to bat for somebody like that when you just don't know? And everything about Brian, it adds up. That's why, like, everybody who knows him knows he kind of does this stuff. Remember all the orgies that he went to? Remember all the exposing himself he did?
There's a difference between when you hear a story about a guy and you go, no, there's no way that he would. Or when you hear a story about a guy and you're like, yep.
So he gets accused of rape. It's not true. And then decides the best way to go about proving that this isn't true and that he's a nice guy is to join Steven Crowder's network after Steven was accused of abusing his pregnant wife. That's when you lend your hand to Steven Crowder to prove that you would never do something like that.
92?
Yes.
It wasn't fucking true.
Exactly. And so that's the one thing that got me through it. But more importantly, what I also realized was no matter who you are and no matter what you've done, you don't have a right to think that you're going to be able to hold on to anything. There is no permanence in life, and everything is transitory, and everything will come and go. Your success, your health, your looks, your status, your popularity, you'll have your ebbs and flows. And I remember looking in the mirror and I said,
so they're in the ebb stage now, right? Like the deep ebb. Is that why this is all happening right now?
Oh, you guys are just ebbing. Got
You're
it.
just ebbing, right? That's why you've lost like 700,000 views that you used to get.
Let's see who I am now, because I lost everything, man. I mean, I did.
Okay, this is great to hear. I love this. I lost everything. I did. Really? I thought you were killing it. You're on tour. You're doing all this stuff. Maybe not. Let's hear him out.
Let's see who I am now, because I lost everything, man. I mean, I did. I lost everything, and including, you know, my community and everything. And you get very, very isolated. But I never stopped writing. I never stopped working out. I never stopped being a good father.
Never stopped writing. The stand-up's terrible. And I haven't heard you say anything that anyone thought was funny in months. You never stopped working out. And this is the body. We just saw a shirtless photo from him a couple months ago. I mean, really, it was a worse body than mine. He's never stopped working out. He's never stopped writing.
I mean, if this Tigerman story is true, she got pretty much the best results out of her accusation out of anyone in history.
Yeah, I mean, if you've lost it all,
she didn't have to go
there
through
you
a
go.
big trial, and you've lost it all. This rules.
But he's never stopped working out, which you could tell. And he's never stopped writing. And that's why his comedy is so amazing. I mean, you should be selling tickets then.
Very, very isolated. But I never stopped writing. I never stopped working out. I never stopped being a good father. I never stopped being a good, partner to my now wife. I never stopped. And I
What
said
about the other wife?
to myself, if I go down, I'm going to suffer well. And I'm going to prove to myself and the people I care about who I know I've always been and who I've known I was my whole life. And that's an opportunity to prove to the world, but most importantly, yourself and those you love, what kind of person you really are. Who are you now, motherfucker? When they're trying to kill you, and make no mistake, you're in a boat.
Well, you're really bad. You're at the very least, you're extremely boring. So who are you now, motherfucker? You're a guy complaining about how you've been canceled still on your 1,000th episode that has gotten 70K views because we all came out to watch this incredible meltdown the two of you are about to have.
In the middle of the ocean with no paddle. And it's the worst thing in the world. You don't sleep, nothing's good, right? People don't realize what it is. You lose everything.
Yeah,
but you gain a lot too.
Oh.
You gain a lot in the end. I think
What have you
for
gained?
me is, I guess what I didn't realize, few things. One, when it first got drawn to my attention, Brian called me,
I mean, this new mustache that he's got going on, it's absurd. It really is absurd. When you start looking at it, it's like one of those old black guys, like 1980s black man's mustache. I've never seen it. Look at this.
Yeah, and I was like, it's a tweet. It's not true. Who gives a shit? Like, I know Brian. I know
Salt
Brian
and
better
pepper?
than anybody. I was like, no, who gives a fuck? How long ago? And it's fake? Like, it's a tweet. We don't have to worry about it. I didn't realize that movement was going to actually, like, was going to do something
all it takes
with
is-
no
it
evidence.
takes
or
one
nothing.
person to
Yeah,
write an
which
article.
I didn't, at the time, I'm like, who gives people say shit all the time. Like, that doesn't matter. Didn't realize what it was going to bring. And another thing I didn't realize is with Brian, with Chris's shit, like, I know them. With Chris stuff, like, I know stuff you guys don't know. I wouldn't stick behind a guy if any of that was true.
Oh.
I know shit you guys don't know. So for people to get mad, like, I can't believe you defend them, like, well, that's what friends do. Now, I'm from the background.
Oh, but if that's what friends do, then it doesn't matter if they're guilty or innocent, right? You're just defending them because that's what friends do. But it's also fake. Chris D'Elia, him, everybody who's been accused of rape in the comedy scene, it's just been fake. And by the way, Chris's accusers have nothing to do with Brian's accusers. They don't know each other. They're from different decades. They're of different age ranges. Okay.
That's what friends do.
That's what friends do.
Now, I'm from the background where I come from. That's what friends do. You back your friends no matter what.
Oh, no matter what. I mean, this isn't a good argument. No matter if they raped or not, you back your friends. You heard it here first.
Where I come from,
calendar.
that's what friends do. You back your friends no matter what.
I mean, case closed. So you're backing him no matter what, no matter if he did it or not. I see.
I didn't realize that it would kind of, how many friends we'd lose. in the comedy community, like how many friends we would lose. And for a long time, I was very upset at that. And now, we've gotten through it. Now I'm glad that happened.
Brendan is so dumb.
Wait. You just stepped on this. Listen to this. Listen to this part. This is the best.
Friends we would lose. And for a long time, I was very upset at that. And now, we've gotten through it. Now I'm glad that happened.
He's glad that happened. Hear that, Brian? Let's see Brian's face.
We know
here.
what we're dealing with.
He's glad that happened to you. So Brian just got done saying he lost it all. His friends, his community, his job, his money. The way everybody looks at him. And Brendan is sitting here saying...
we've gotten through it. Now I'm glad that happened. Because now we know what we're dealing with. We know who we can bank on, who we can't.
Very glad. Doesn't he look so glad? Look, I'm so glad this happened. This is a glad. Look at this glad guy.
You don't have to present yourself this way, even if you're feeling so like you're just going to come out here and cry.
And again,
what is that
this is
do
the
to help
1000th
you?
episode. This is supposed to be a grand celebration. They bought the cupcakes. Congratulations. They got a display of cupcakes. They're going to waste them all. There's only 4 people in the room. You brought 26 cupcakes.
We know what we're dealing with. We know who we can bank on, who we can't. All good. And I never expected that. Straight up, never expected that. And it just people show their true colors.
I also want to say
show their
something
true
about
colors.
that too. Part of when you go through that is learning how to forgive anybody who jumps ship. And here's why. What you have to understand is we live in a world where anyone can say anything about you.
Don't let them scare you.
People can tell a story, and they can take everything from you. We all know this. People lose their entire livelihood.
Then why does it only happen to shitheads?
I know.
Like, there's really not a lot of guys accused of rape that are like really good guys where that is so not them. You know what I mean? Like, everyone's getting accused is pretty much like the biggest scumbag of the pack. So I don't think this could happen to anyone. I really haven't seen it happen to everyone.
Take everything from you. We all know this. People lose their entire livelihood off a Twitter storm. People say something and everybody jumps on it. It is the first time in history, in a lot of ways, well, not the first time, but social media has that dark side. If someone writes an article, if there is a certain thing, you are done. All they have to do is tell a story. Johnny Depp, the biggest movie star in the world,
Don't even get me started.
what did he say when they said, what did you lose because Miss Heard's story? Nothing short of everything. And that was Johnny Depp.
Yeah, but to your point, I think the reason you're saying this is a lot of people I was bad at, a lot of it's fear. Because even if they support us behind closed doors.
Johnny Depp did the rapes too. Look at him.
Yeah, and you can't just use that as an example.
Amber Heard is guilty. That's
and
how
he's
far
no
I'll
Johnny
go.
Depp. It's like, come on. Johnny Depp is also given us so much. We could look the other way. We could look the other way with a Depp. We don't care. But not you. Okay, it's different strokes for different folks. Okay, what's our next code here? Because it starts getting good.
I know. Are you at 220?
I am at 220.06.
There's a good part.
Okay, let's see.
Here.
Yeah, with text, Brian.
Yeah.
They were like, I just don't want,
Terrifying.
like, if this is what they can do, we're out.
You're next. Everybody's next in a world like that. If you can lose your entire livelihood off a story, you're next.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't realize, like, obviously I have nothing to do with
But
it.
nobody came next. You know, like they accused you, and I haven't heard really nobody else got accused afterwards. Who's next? It's really not that many guys out of the 400 million guys, in the United States. It's not that many guys that have been accused of rape from this after Brian Callen, right? Not that many people. So if they're next, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. Well, how come they haven't done that yet? They haven't come for all these people yet.
The story, you're next.
Yeah, I guess I just didn't realize, like, obviously I have nothing to do with it, but I defend my friends. It created teams. And people went, oh, well, Brendan not only defends them, but brings them on the show, does a show with them. Like, so it ostracized me from certain comedy clubs. And, I'm like, wait, what?
2110.
Okay. So he's saying
you can keep playing from this part, actually.
They're saying that comedy clubs stopped booking Brendan because of his support of Kellen, which is funny to hear.
It's me from certain comedy clubs.
And I'm sure that's all it had to do with.
I'm like, wait, what? Wait, you're not sending me availables now? I didn't do anything. But you did. You're on that team. We're on this team. I went, okay.
Yeah.
And all that I'd go, okay.
That was less.
Yeah, they're standing up for their friends, the victims. You know what I mean? It's like, how come we can't stand up for the victims no matter what? If you could stand up for the rapist, the perpetrator, no matter what, why not? They're just standing up for their side.
Team. We're on this team. I went, okay.
Yeah.
And all that I'd go, okay.
That was less so. Like there are people that are. Yeah, we live in a very polarized culture. It's a culture war right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times it was exactly like with COVID. If you weren't all in on masks and social distancing and vaccines, you were already over there. You were branded far right. You were branded all kinds of stuff. We're living in a time where bad lines are being drawn.
Here's my thing. I can understand why some of them didn't speak up for Brian and Chris. I get it. I get it. You're scared.
Brian and Chris are two different things too.
No, I'm saying that.
Oh, I see.
Brian and Chris. Brian and Chris. Brian and Chris. Brian and Chris. Brian and Chris.
Brian and Chris.
Brian and Chris are two different things. Let's just. Why? I thought Chris is innocent. What's different? I thought Chris is innocent too. Why are you two different things?
I get it. I get it because you're scared.
Brian and Chris are two different things too.
No, I'm saying that whole cancel thing. It's one thing.
We're all different. All of us are in our different boats.
But still, you guys were voted off the island. So my thing is, I can understand that some people wouldn't do it because they're scared of it.
Episode.
And then some I don't understand because, of course, I realize I get some blowback, but it's like I don't respect it. I don't care if I talk to someone anymore. I'm like, oh, I'm good. Like you're not giving me my foxhole. It's all good. So I think with some of it, all good. All good. It's all good.
Okay, you can go to 2/22/30. Sorry, everything's good, but I'm trying to just do the best parts.
Of course. All right, what do we got here? 2/22/30. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, this is good. It's got a great ending. Listen for the ending. Brian's going to do a little speech, and he's going to end it in a cinematic way, like you've seen in a movie.
Yeah, look, I know who I am, and the people around me know who I am. And one of the things I showed at the time I was going through it, the people that I had hired, one was a publicist, the other was a lawyer. Should never have hired a publicist, never. But I was, you're in a panic mode, and people say you got to do this, you're gonna need a crisis stuff. I should have I made a video because I wanted people to see my face. But the one thing I showed them, I said, you need to believe I'm innocent. I can't have you thinking, I can't have you as a hired gun. It's very important that you know. And I showed them my side. Mm-hmm. I showed them what.
Okay, so it's starting to break down here. Here's where it's what I call cinematic. He starts getting a little choked up. Listen to this.
I showed them